Again, good morning.
Good morning.
It took us a while before we got here. For those of you who were with us during this Holy Week, I'm glad we were together. I'm glad that you made the sacrifice to come here to be with us and to celebrate the events of Holy Week. Today ends what we started on Holy Thursday, the Triduum. The Mass began on Thursday. We ended on Thursday without a blessing. On Friday, we began without even saying, "Let us pray." We walked out on Friday in quietness. And today, at the end of our liturgy, we'll complete the 3 days. And there will be the blessing finally to end that particular Triduum. One way to look at the word Triduum is in 3 parts or 3 phases. There's the supper, the Last Supper, which Jesus spends with his disciples. There's the passion and crucifixion and death. And then today there's the resurrection. Okay? We know all this. And it might be, for us to say, maybe kind of simple to even say that. But sometimes I think we have to hear what is so obvious. The reason why we're here this morning is because God's kept the promise of raising Jesus to new life. As Jesus is raised to new life, so are we. Okay? If we look at the Feast of Resurrection, and we look at it with the sense of reason, there's no hope. If we try to explain what the resurrection is all about, the resurrection obviously is a mystery. And as we say in every liturgy, this is the mystery of our faith. Not reason. Faith. Okay? And each one of us is called, be we ordained or not, because we're all part of the priesthood of Christ by our baptism. And we will renew our baptism promises after this, my words with you. And as we listen to the words of the baptismal promises that are read, let them come into maybe the first time you're answering them for yourself. Okay? So many of us who were baptized as infants, the godparents said, "Yes, I believe. Yes, I believe. Okay, let's go." But now as adults, and I think we're all in that category, some more than others, but let's truly listen and answer the questions from the bottom of our hearts. Huh? We listen to the second reading, and we hear a word that isn't very heard that often in church. The word yeast. Huh? Yeast. What do we do with yeast? We put it in bread, in various cakes. Maybe you might remember Isle of Lucy when she opens the stove and she gets pushed back against the window because they use too much yeast. Okay? But that's what we have to do. We have to be the yeast in the communities where we live. We have to let people know exactly what we believe. And don't be afraid to express your belief. I remember many years ago, and I'm sure most of you do who did any traveling by air, you'd go into the various airports, and who did you see? Anybody remember? Hare Krishna, right? ringing the bells and chanting and standing with their robes on, and people passing by and probably saying, they're possessed. Yeah, they're possessed. Possessed by God's Spirit. Would we do it? Would we knock on somebody's door and say, do you believe? That's not part of our tradition. But the people who do that, boy, they're people who put themselves on the line. Huh? And when we walk around, if we go into the post office or get gas with our habits on, people look at us. And that's okay. Right? Because we're making a statement, just as you are to make a statement. By the way you live, by the way you talk, by the way you act. This is what it means to be Easter people. To believe in and proclaim that Christ has truly been raised. And because Christ has been raised, we will too. I read something this morning, and I never heard it before. I never read it before. And it's from an author whose name is Patricia Sanchez. No relation. No. I don't think. And she states that Judas, remember that name, Judas. He's at the bottom of a pit for 1,000 years. And every time he moves up that pit to try to get out, he falls back. And this has been going on and on and on. And finally, he makes it to the top, sees that ray of light, and is able to pull himself out of the mire, out of the pit he's in. And he walks into this room, and there are people sitting around a table with Jesus at the head. And Jesus says, Brother Judas, it's about time we couldn't start without you. Maybe those are words we have to listen to. That all of us are of importance. And no matter where we've been or what we've done, the loving arms of Jesus are there for us, waiting for us, because it wouldn't be complete if we weren't here. Pray for me as I pray for you, and may God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us, give us peace now and always. Amen.